everyone, welcome to our 10th episode of the Weekend Nightcast. Today we have a very special guest with us. We have a guest interviewee. We have with us is Clone Commander 1000.
Those are the numbers. Hey, hello.
And then additionally we also have Admiral Agent Zenith.
How is it going?
And Admiral Alstroemerias.
Hello.
And let's get this show on the road. This podcast will be it'll just be an interview podcast, so we'll just talk all about Clone Commander. Ooh,
My favorite topic.
We'll answer those burning questions that everyone has regarding this guy. Okay. Anyway, our first topic, we're going to go into the early days of your... just in general, I don't know how I was going to...
What, like
center
on this
around.
planet or in TNI?
Probably before and TNI.
Okay.
Now let me ask the question real quick. Why did you first join TNI?
I first joined TNI because I had recently given up on other clans. Vortex Security had died shortly beforehand. I said shortly, it was a couple months beforehand, but Vortex was the last clan that I had put any amount of effort or time into, and it died and is still dead to this day. Before that, it was TGI.
So a lot of old gen clans, yeah.
Yeah, before that, it was Red Army. I owned a clan in 2010. Anyway, I've been doing clans for a very, very long time, and it felt weird to not be in one. So I kind of always kept my eye out for one, and then we saw the border, we being myself and condemning and get nept, and still praising. We saw the border like on the front page of games, so we just went there originally as raiders. We would just buy guns and attack the border. We'd mess everything up, raid the safe. At the time, there was not a reactor because this was the old border, which I think
when it first came out. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the color palette better.
The glory days.
Well, you know. But yeah, we would raid it for a while. We did that basically until it got boring. So we did it for like a week or two, maybe. And then eventually we're like, hey, maybe it'll be fun to defend. So we joined, and I guess that's history now. But we all joined at the same time.
I'm sure you also joined it because you saw a lot of veterans as well, didn't you?
I didn't actually notice until afterwards. Maybe Madigan did. But like I didn't know Astro was in it. I didn't know that Tall was in it. I'm sure Madigan knew that Tall was in it because Tall had been in Vortex as well. But I didn't know Tall that well. I knew him. We were in a division together in Vortex Security, but I hadn't been as close to him as Condemning was. So on my end, it was mostly just so I could be in a new group with my friends.
Great guy. I feel like I know that guy.
Yeah, maybe you guys are familiar with Tall Roblox?
Of course.
I don't know. I think I know
Hmm.
him.
But yeah. And then I guess from there it was when I join a group, I tend to be very competitive. So if I see problems and I think, I could fix these, I tend to want to. And if I see officers where I think, I could do better, I tend to want to. So I got officer as quickly as I could, and I've been there ever since. I don't think it took me that long.
Is there a position you initially wanted besides officer, like a director of something, not just Royal Guard or an Admiral, Concom? Be honest.
Unit. I think the Royal Guard was what I originally wanted to join. One of my first interactions at the border was seeing Durlock of all people in the Royal Guard morph, and I thought, wow, that looks really cool.
Durlock of all people.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Durlock.
Shout out to my man Durlock.
That was a time.
Yeah, but Royal Guard was not the first thing I joined. I joined the Wolfpack unit because Condemning ended up becoming director of it, and originally it was different from all the other units because he vetted the people who were let in. This meant it was significantly smaller than all the other units as well, but generally speaking had a higher quality. Eventually, that changed. Administration had a different vision for what they wanted out of the division, so it opened up,
The unit?
became more popular.
Of the unit?
Sorry, of the unit. I don't think of units anymore because they're all gone the way of the dinosaur, and thank goodness for that. But yeah, the unit opened up, became more openly inclusive, and I looked towards other things that I could do in TNI that were more my style, and I found them.
Neat.
Perfect opportunity.
Yep.
How did I coincidence?
Yep.
I can get this next one. So Connor, this is a question that I've been interested in quite a while. Have you ever been in past positions that are similar to where you are now? So as a director of a division, as a different type of Royal Guard, or
Royal Guard specifically is new to me. Well, I say new; it's been 2 years now, but it had been new to me. However, when I was in TGI, I was the head of a division. I was in charge of what was the Inquisition, which was a division that was largely about basically investigating misconduct. And I did that job quite well, I think. It was a very small, very elite division with people who were both good combatively and who were smart and could keep sensitive information to themselves. So in a lot of ways, that was something of a prototype for the Royal Guard for me, anyway, because we're not like secretive per se, but we don't leak information. We are fairly quiet. Generally, we have that reputation for not talking at the border, which is semi-earned. But a lot of what I learned at that time was how much appearances and reputation affect the division, not just externally, but internally. Because if a division has a certain reputation, not only will people look at it differently, but the people in that division will feel more inclined to uphold that reputation, which is why it's important for me that my division not only behaves how I would consider to be like appropriately at all times, but also that they are perceived a certain way, that they are looked at to behave that way. It helps the people who are in it actually follow the rules.
Right, and it appears it's worked out so far. I know as a former member myself that we haven't really had an issue like that occur in the past, at least ever since I've been around.
They're few and far between. Very rarely do I have issues where I have to, step in personally. And often whenever we do have a small issue, it's just something where I have to talk to someone, and that's it. Thankfully,
let's see.
Go on.
So it seems like you've been in a lot of clans. You're a clan veteran per se. Has TNI had any impact on your view of the clan world, or rather changed your way of thinking of how a clan should function? How similar to Rat, similar to VS?
Well, TNI functions entirely differently from clans of old, in a way that I think frees it from one of the biggest shackles that old clans suffered from. One of the biggest problems, in hindsight, from the old clan model, was that they all depended on other clans in a variety of ways. You needed other clans to not only be active so that they could raid you, so that your defensive forts could be used, but you needed them to defend their own forts so that you could raid them. And while on the surface this is a symbiotic relationship, the problem is that the clan members are children who don't understand that, so they treat one another very poorly, and that leads to clans not wanting to engage in this symbiotic relationship, which leads to decline. And that kind of happened on the large scale very slowly over the almost 10 years that clans function like that. And they really don't anymore. And how TNI breaks from this mold is it's almost entirely self-contained. It hosts events between its own divisions. It had units as well for that function. Units were also an example of of that old mentality where they fought so much and had that rivalry with each other in a way that thankfully divisions don't seem to, at least not nearly as much.
Right, and it's kind of a rush to me when I look at TNI after being in a lot of clans myself and seeing the way it's grown ever since I first came around.
For sure.
Units being the cesspool as it was, it certainly caused a lot of issues within internal fighting. That's for sure. But from what I've seen when it comes to our divisions and the variety of things you can do within TNI, including its focuses, it's certainly the most unique clan that I've ever been a part of. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a clan anymore. We're more of a community.
It definitely veers from what was traditionally viewed as a clan.
Right.
I don't know that it isn't one, because the social hierarchy is very similar to old clans with the ranking system and the chain of command. But at the same time, I guess all communities kind of have a social hierarchy like that. Most of them are just less formal. I personally am drawn to the formal chain of command, so I prefer this. But yeah, it's different almost to the point of being something else entirely, like a new breed of group, which is good, I think, overall, because old clans, as anyone will hasten to tell you, are basically dead. There's not much of them left, and those that continue to exist do so largely out of spite more than any actual reason to continue on.
I also think old clans also largely depended on CNG being alive as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. Definitely CNG being removed was a factor in,
and that was
in
like,
the collapse.
Part of the culture back then, so it was just like, wow, a big change that all clans had to manage and transition to Discord. And obviously in Discord, it's like, it's kind of hard to communicate between other clans without,
you're a lot more
direct
insulated.
form.
You want to talk about cesspool? We go to CNG.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like a year after CNG closed, Roger Dodger, Cliff, he messaged me on Steam and he was like, "Do you know how to make a website?" And I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I know the basics. Why?" And he's like, "I want to make CNG again, but on a new forum." As far as I'm aware, he did it. I don't know if anyone actually used it, but I saw a screenshot of the forum, so it existed. I told him how to do it, and he did it. And like, it had a banner at the top, and I saw that he had himself listed as like God. So,
of course,
God tier.
I didn't hear anything about that. Kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I've taken that away from you.
As much as CNG was fun, I mean, it was the nostalgia that's making me think it was a good place, but in reality, it's probably better if it's gone.
Oh, it was horrific.
Yeah,
it was
bad.
A record hive of scum and villainy.
Well, it's fun to see people get declared war on.
Yeah.
The hype. But anyway, besides that, yeah. So we'll move on to the next topic just to keep this going. Well, let's focus on your division, Royal Guards.
Okay.
You're ready to talk about this. What is a common misconception about your division that you want to debunk?
I feel like I should use this as almost a public service announcement. There are people who do not understand our purpose, and because of that lack of understanding, misconstrue our actions at the border. So there's a lot of people, for example, who think I got random killed by a Royal Guard. And what they fail to understand is that they did, for example, if we are at the border and we are guarding an admiral, our primary job is to keep that admiral alive. We ideally do so without impacting citizens at the border, and we ideally do so without having to tase or warn anyone. However, in practice, because of how easy it is to kill people at the border, between sniper combos, plasma combos, swords continuing to have mass after the user is killed, which lets you kill someone from like 15 feet away with a dropping sword. Invisibility from the Hitman, 4,000 HP juggernauts, tanks that can ram you at max speed. The list goes on. We have to be very careful. And so if, say, someone is walking up the border and then turns sharply and starts walking straight towards us, that looks a lot like they're going to sword the Admiral. They're probably going to get shot. So I guess the misconception is we're not randomly killing you. We have a very good reason for doing it. Please avoid us.
Very good reason to suspect you.
Yes. We have to treat every citizen as though they could be hostile. And we've got consider 20 studs roughly around us as the no-no zone. If you
6
avoid
feet apart, you know. Precautions.
Social distance from your royal guards. That's basically what I'm saying.
Right. It makes sense too. I mean, the primary job of the royal guard, as you said, is to protect our high command.
Mhm.
So it's kind of similar to for all Americans out there, the Secret Service with the president. You can't just walk up to the president.
Right.
You can't walk up to an admiral. You will be shot. And that is a misconception that I've personally seen a lot. I've gotten lots of complaints from random people about, oh, I was killed by a royal guard. And most of the time my rebuttal is, you probably did something that it was not in protocol.
That made you look shady.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and also in that vein, something I've noticed and also has been mentioned to me before is that sometimes Nighthawks think, oh, I'm on the Nighthawk team. I can walk around the Admiral and we can have a party there and we won't abide by social distancing rules. But if too many TNI come, it actually ends up obstructing the vision of Royal Guards. Or at least I have been told.
It does.
So yeah, you're not immune to it if you're a Nighthawk, and you should be mindful of that as well.
We have team kill pistols.
It becomes incredibly difficult to tell what's going on if like 8 people are clustered around the Admiral that you're trying to guard, and there's 10 citizens who are in a line staring at you, and you know there's a hitman somewhere, etc., etc. Very quickly, all of the factors start compounding, and suddenly, mistakes get made, which is why we try and simplify matters as much as we can. We'll tell you, ideally, move along, don't stick around, don't stare at us. And then if you don't listen, you'll get shot. Shrug.
Mm-hmm.
/shrug.
Is there a guide for this? Is there any document that's like, please stay 6 feet away from the royal guards? Stuff like that.
I wish. No, I don't think there is. I've considered making one. We used to hold what were called observational trials. We used to hold informational trainings, which were just us reaching out to the public, basically, and saying, hey, we're going to, answer all of your questions about the Royal Guard. And we'll explain to you how we do things and why we do things. And hopefully that will help mitigate issues at the border.
Maybe
stop doing them because
caution signs, put them up at the border.
We should have.
Like
no,
caution?
no, we would just bring people to like a border VIP server and give them living examples. We'd like show them what's going on.
Why'd you stop?
Because it didn't really seem to help very much. I mean, some people would learn the difference, and occasionally, you'll still see people at the border who understand our protocol and who will call it out, but not enough people attended for it to be worth continued, to continue doing it. Both to make it, because it wasn't worth our time, and it wasn't making any real difference at the border. People kept complaining about the same things. People didn't understand. It's the very unfortunate fact that a lot of the people who would attend are very passionate, younger people who maybe exactly following along and are just there because the people with the cool golden morphs are talking.
Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Shiny, shiny.
No, I don't
pretty
know
boy.
who it was, but someone recently said to me that we should add security tape for royal guards to use
I was going to mention
and
that.
place around the border.
A
That'd be pretty
security
cool.
cam system?
No, like tape.
Like tape, like how you tape off a crime scene.
So it just records it and then like sends it somewhere?
No, not even that. Like the yellow, black and white tape, or black and yellow tape.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like cameras. I was like, what? What do you
No,
mean?
that'd be cool too. But
Isn't that already
no,
a thing?
like caution tape.
Oh yeah.
I
it's
just
custom.
thought, like, wouldn't that be too hard since RG move around a lot?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, unless you can make it like like you know how in MMOs they have like a circle around the character when they're walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
Those have these.
Well, when the border gets updated, we will have a tool that will help us keep people out of the zone.
I wonder when
It's not caution tape, but yeah, I wonder.
Just a gun?
It's not caution. It's not a gun either. No, it's
a stick.
It is a stick is pretty accurate actually. It's a stick that zaps people who get too close and pushes them away.
So like a stun baton.
For those who have been on the testing server, the Avenger and the Revenger have a similar thing with their scythe, albeit less powerful. It simply pushes users away.
That's going to be abused. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to give a Game Pass team those.
It's a similar feature to that.
Yeah.
That
Imagine that,
funny.
but not just in the hands of people who can buy it.
Oh yeah.
That sounds very
Anyway.
funny.
Yeah. It hopefully will be.
Oh. What's the weirdest encounter or interaction you've ever had as RG director? Because I'm sure you get tons of DMs.
I get
silly
hundreds.
questions.
Sir, how'd you get in Royal Guard?
Yeah. Silliest. I have to think about that one because I get a lot of them, but most of them are the same. Most of them are, sir, how to be RG? I want to be RG. Sir, make me an RG. Occasionally, I'll get people who try and like bully their way in. I think that's a little funny. There'll be people who are like, bro, you suck. 1v1 me right now, and I'll be an RG if I win. Like, no.
That's not happening. Has anyone ever messaged you like, I bet I could do my job better than you?
Yes, that's less common. I can only think of like 2 or 3 off the top of my head, but it's definitely happened. I think silliest. Someone tried to. A couple of people have tried to bribe me, but my favorite one, I was at Lumber Tycoon because I like to go to old Roblox games sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just messing around, and a guy came up to me and he said, "Hello, sir. I will give you $1 million dollar." And I was like, okay. Like, sure. Free money's nice. And he's like, okay, I give you $1. And then after like 2 minutes, I will note he did not give me $1 million. He went, okay, now you make me Royal Guard. I would keep in mind he hadn't mentioned being in TNI. He hadn't mentioned Royal Guard up until this point. He was just like, okay, now you make me Royal Guard. I was like, oh, is that? No. And he just left.
He's like, okay.
He just immediately leaves the game.
Yeah.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah, shoot your shot, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, please don't.
Please just wait for next OT. God.
Yes. Just
Connor is a very expensive man.
Yeah. If you're gonna try to bribe me, you gotta try harder than that.
This time is precious.
Talk about paying my rent, and then we'll talk.
That's okay. Do you want me to ask the next question? I'll ask the next question.
Sure.
Does RG technically have 2 directors?
No.
Yeah. See, that's the common misconception.
Then who is Invims? And why is he director?
Intix, I can explain.
Oh,
this
not
one.
Invims. My bad, Intix.
Intix and Invims are the same person. That is said live on camera. Intix is the developer.
Mm-hmm.
That's as simple as that.
He's actually retired in the division. He was one of my officers. He retired. He's a champion.
Yeah, I remember him.
However, he operates a bot that requires permissions in the Royal Guard group that only I have. So for the sake of ease of access, we've just put him at the director rank so that he has those permissions so that he can keep the bot working.
Ah, okay, everyone. Well, that's your explanation. Then we can stop asking. Everyone's asking.
Yeah, in Vims, I mean, Intix is a great guy.
Yeah. Salt of the Earth. Somalian pirate.
Anything Royal Guard related you guys have? Any inquiries, Alstor?
I already know.
I mean, I have access to the Discord, so there's not much to inquire about.
Well, I mean, like, about him personally.
I don't have any questions.
Let me try to put myself in the mind of a TNI member right now.
All right.
Can I have one Bobuk?
Can you have one Bobuk?
Yes.
I mean, I could give you one Bobuk.
Excellent.
What do you need one Bobuk for?
Why RG jetpack not gold?
Because red looks better.
Yeah, but you could do gold and red, which is a great combination.
True. Because the developers don't want to.
Such a shame. What a missed opportunity.
Excuse me, sir. I am now a regular TNI member.
Hello, regular TNI member.
If RGs are already good at combat, why do you get good weapons? You don't need them.
I love this question.
If Red Cell Special Forces are Special Forces, why do they get the best gun of the border? First of all...
Why RG use stick, not gun?
Well, first of all, most of us, meaning everyone that isn't an officer, gets the regular ICR. Second of all, because we have a very difficult job, and if we were deliberately handicapping ourselves, I would rather jump off a building than continue to go to the border.
Right? It's not enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of misconception is the sword is a very powerful weapon just because of the fact it can kill 15 feet away with lag. Even just a tiny bit of lag, you can kill somebody across the map with.
It's a spear.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes to guarding, if we didn't have at least decent weapons, we would be at a severe disadvantage consistently. It wouldn't be like we have pistols and we're really good at aiming so we can kill everyone. That's not how that works. If someone has an M16 or an ICR, even if we have a shield and we just have a pistol, if there's multiple of them, they're most likely going to kill the Admiral pretty easily.
And that's where you get into double sniper combos that can kill someone across the map.
Exactly.
Why can't you guys make those weird Admiral guys stand in less public areas, huh?
Why don't we just use God commands on them, or maybe, I don't know, tell them not to go to the border?
No, but it's not nice. I get killed too much.
Yeah.
I get killed.
You are convenient to me.
I try to run away, but it doesn't work.
The short answer is, we don't control admirals. We just do our best to protect them wherever they go.
I used to zip around. Just run.
You know, if you don't like how the admirals act, call your congressman. I mean,
call your local admiral. Tell them to stop.
Yeah. Message Alstroemerias specifically. It's all her fault.
Get her to implement another division suspension.
Yeah.
Or whatever changes she does.
I am now going to suspend Clone Commander 1000.
If you get to this part of the podcast, DM Alstroemerias PogChamp in order to show your loyalty to the Imperium.
Oh, great.
Donate $1 to my fund.
If you get to the end of the podcast, DM Durlock, IPC recruiter, to show your loyalty.
Yeah. Yes.
Wait. Did you just say IPC? Justice Council? What?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, we can't say that. We can't say that. It's redacted.
Sorry.
Oh.
That was kind of
close. Pretty close. Durlock, I hope you're watching.
Sorry, I forgot myself for a second.
You never know if someone who's in that mystery division might be listening into this conversation. Might even be in the conversation right as we speak.
I wonder who.
If you get to this part of the podcast, you're a real one.
If you get to this part of the podcast, prepare to be disappeared into a black van.
Prepare to take these secrets with you to the grave.
Yeah, exactly. The national security of the Nighthawk Imperium rests solely on your shoulders, dear listener.
Indeed. Let's move on before we stray away. Anyway, let's talk about you, Clone Commander. That's why we have here you today, so we need to get to know you more, not just about Roblox, Let's get into the nitty-gritty, whatever, the deep stuff. Let's cry, talk about our emotions. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
You're not going to throw that hat from Mario Odyssey on me, are you? You're going to take over my brain?
No, I would never. Maybe.
All right.
Who knows?
Jesus.
Everyone has a certain image of you, but how would you describe yourself?
I hate that question. I've never been good at answering it, and I've been asked it before. Jesus.
Now you're here live and recording.
Yeah, I know. You've really put me on the spot. I would.
Well, you agreed to this, so I mean.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. I did agree to it. In fact, I kind of sought it out. I was quite interested.
He did beg me in DMs. Everyone, listen. No, I'm kidding.
I would say that I am someone who values their time. And I put it towards things that interest me. So TNI interests me. Writing interests me. I intend to publish a book at some point, but at the moment I haven't. I've just got a bunch of short stories.
Oh.
Yeah, I write fairly frequently.
That's cool. I didn't know that about you.
I used to draw, but not so much anymore. I just have lost the practice. I'm okay at it. Animals interest me, so I've had a great many pets. I've discussed this to some length in officer chats. But like to this day, I like to help out with my family. My dad, for example, lives on just shy of a farm, really. He's got chickens, he's got a cockatoo, he's got a dog and a stray cat and a lizard and a bunch of other things. And I go up there and I help him take care of them, help him manage his garden where he grows plants and carrots and beans and pumpkins and all sorts of things. I have a great many interests, is what I'm saying, and I find it very hard to narrow myself down into any one category.
Would you say you're stoic?
Sure. I think that's an attribute that gets stuck with me fairly often, and probably fairly accurately.
Everyone...
I'd say...
What do you say?
I'd say a more accurate description of a clone from a regular TNI member is intimidating.
I get that a lot. Kylie called me scary the other day, and I asked her why.
She doesn't know what scary is.
Yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, no, I get that a lot, and the question I have is why. I mean, granted, I'm very direct with people, but I don't think I'm particularly mean or like aggressive most of the time. Just blunt.
That's another good word to describe the interactions.
Blunt. I just say what I mean.
Which can be good.
Yeah.
Causes less confusion and all that. People get straight to the point.
Yeah, I don't want people to misconstrue what I say. I just say it how it is.
Ooh. Here's a question for you. What's something people seem to misunderstand about you? We kind of drove into the topic a little bit with the intimidating and all that.
Right.
I wanted to point out that you do happen for like every officer award, you tend to get the same award every time.
The disciplinarian one. Yes. By the books.
And I do think
important.
I want to point out that you do happen to have a lack of interaction in like the public general chat and all that. You kind of keep to yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel getting those awards, considering that you don't really interact with the public? Just to go on another question.
To be blunt, like I said earlier, I originally was probably getting them just because of my position. People saw Royal Guard Director, they thought, wow, that guy must be strict. Excuse me, I need water.
Understandable. Take time.
I have water. And so they probably voted for that position. I think after my first year, probably people knew me enough, at least officers, to vote for me on my own merits rather than just the merits of my position. I think by now, most people know of me or have seen me interact enough to have an idea of how I am. But it is true that I don't speak with your everyday TNI member very much, at least not in TNI chat rooms. I am probably better at answering my DMs, and I don't always, because I get a lot of them, like a lot of them. But
wow, Mr. Popular right here.
I don't think it's necessarily
this guy.
But whenever I get a DM that warrants response, I try to respond. If it's something where the answer is publicly available elsewhere, I probably won't, which is why I usually don't answer the how to BRGs, because you can find that out by reading publicly available documentation. It is available in this Discord. However, if it's a genuine question, if it's someone who wants to know something, who wants something from me, who wants me to do something for them, as long as it's something in my power, I'll usually try to answer. So people do get that level of communication with me. And generally, as long as you have a good question, I don't mind answering. But insofar as Agent's question as well, I think a misconception people have about me is that I'm mean. I don't think I'm mean.
You're not very mean.
I beg to differ. After I speak to you, I cry.
Well, grow thicker skin.
Honors.
I can't. I'm female. I'm sorry.
Well, there you go.
It's a little bit.
I hope Bobby is watching this podcast.
I hope so. Maybe he can grow some legs.
Ooh, instant. That's right there. If he watches this podcast, Bobby, you got legs again.
Yep.
Them's fighting words. See that?
If I had that power, I'd do it. No, I've known him for a very long time. I know better than to think he'd be upset by that.
No, I understand.
Actually, I like Bobby quite a lot. He helped me build my computer. He's a great person. He's very intelligent. Got a great sense of humor. But yeah, I'm not particularly mean. I think the mixture of being blunt and saying what I think means that people will take that as me being rude or mean, when really I'm just trying to really get across a point. Usually, in a case like this, I might say, oh, this idea is stupid. Now, I'm not saying this person is stupid. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have had the idea. I'm just saying, based on what I can see, the idea itself, not great. So people might make that mix up, which is understandable. No one likes being told that their idea is stupid, but sometimes
people need to hear the truth.
Yep.
In order
That's
to
my
improve.
thought.
So I mean,
a genuine thought.
Take it or leave
it. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's my genuine belief that everyone has the capacity to do great things, and I want to push as many people to do as much greatness as they can. Generally, I will do so in my own way, but I don't think coddling has ever pushed anyone to do an impressive feat, if you get what I mean.
No, yeah, definitely. I understand what you mean. But at the same time, I also kind of feel like you have to, you know, I think there's two sides of that coin that can also work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure encouragement as opposed to coddling would be helpful as well. Have someone think, you've done good in this, continue to do good in this direction, and you'll do better, is probably a nicer way of doing what I do. But there are plenty of officers who will do that.
It could be like, I see what you mean, but I think this way would be more optimal.
Yeah, but people who are married to their idea will hear that and think, well, he was kind of okay with it, so I'll keep doing what I was doing.
Yeah, I understand that. And then there's just a point where you're just gonna be like, no, this is bad. You just gotta go something new. I understand. There's like certain levels. But yeah. What are you saying?
I was just gonna say, I'm not saying that I'm perfect either. I'm not, and I'm well aware of that.
No one is.
Yeah. I try every day to do better. That's the best I can do.
It says in my notes here, Connor, that you're incorrect. You are God tier, is what they call it.
Yeah. Well, I created the sun and moon on the third and fourth day, respectively, but we don't talk about that.
You're classified, redacted. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See. What makes you feel inspired, or like your best self?
Ooh, music, easy. That's actually one I've got right off the top of my head.
What type of music?
It varies. Usually, I listen to metal. However, I think my favorite song of all time is Coalescence, which is from the Risk of Rain soundtrack. That
is a good one.
Penultimate level. Yes.
That is a really good one.
Absolutely fantastic soundtrack. Leaves me feeling inspired every time I listen to it. Makes me feel all sorts of good and bad and hopeful and depressing in all of the best ways things when I listen to it.
It helps that the when that song plays, it's starting to it's like the climax of a run.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. That music is definitely motivational.
Mm-hmm. Chris Christodoulou, fantastic music maker.
Ooh, here's one. What's your favorite Sabaton song? I know you listen to
Bismarck.
Oh, okay.
I think Bismarck is objectively their best song.
No idea what any of those are. I don't usually listen to soundtracks for video games. It kind of just flies past my head through one ear out the other. So,
I recommend listening to Coalescence. I think it's worth it.
Yeah,
but go on.
Is anything else besides metal? You like classical music?
I do. I'll listen to a great many genres. It's just I don't usually seek out things that aren't in my usual wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'll get the hankering to listen to something more chill, and I'll listen to I don't know, Maniac by Carpenter Brute did a fantastic cover.
I was about to say the wrong artist. I don't know what I was thinking anyway.
Queen has some good music. I like Bohemian Rhapsody and Don't Stop Me Now.
Very good choice.
And Another One Bites the Dust. All very good songs. Yeah, I listen to a lot of music. I just yeah, I don't know. It's probably my favorite medium through which to gain inspiration.
I understand that. I like a lot of. I can't. If you have asked me what type of music I like, I would just say any of them, because I'm not a very picky person with anything like books, food. I'll intake anything because I'm just very open like that. You could take that whatever you want. You know what?
I kind of wish I could do that. I don't know. Food I've been more open to recently. Like I used to be very picky, and I'm not so much anymore. I can't eat like mushrooms or spring rolls, but other than that, I'll eat most
mushrooms.
Can't eat mushrooms. Can't eat spring rolls.
Like you can't eat them. Like you just don't like them, or
mushrooms make me feel ill. Oh. Spring rolls make me violently ill.
Oh. Spring rolls?
Mm-hmm. I like egg rolls. Can't eat them.
Maybe it was like any of them, or just the specific type.
Any of them.
Oh well.
Oh well, maybe it's You know, let's not get into it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, I don't feel like I've missed out, but it's because I don't.
Oh yeah, you're not missing much, but you know, it's still kind of sad. Can't eat.
Yeah,
food. Well,
there is that.
I literally can't remember the last time I've eaten a spring roll. Like it must be at least 4 years ago.
Like I've never successfully.
It's not something
eaten
you
one,
usually
so.
get, you know.
So random.
I had sushi for the first time very recently.
Like
and
for the
like
first time ever?
Yeah.
I don't like sushi. God. That's the one food I want.
Oh my!
I quite enjoyed it actually. My family. It was right after Christmas. My family on my mother's side decided to get like a big sushi platter. We all contributed, so we all put in some money, and we all got. There was California rolls, and there was some sort of destructive volcano thing in the middle that we had to rip apart. There was wasabi and ginger. Yeah, I think there was like 6 or 7 different types of sushi, but it was all like, well, it wasn't all like the California roll style, but it was mostly like that. There were a couple that were like these big spiral things. Those were actually pretty good. And there was 1 or 2 that were deep fried.
My favorite types of sushi is usually the ones that have a little crunch on top. A little crunchy.
Yes.
Sushi. Yes. Those are really good.
There were some of those. There was like fish roe on top, which are like fish eggs. That was interesting, but I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would, and I did.
I cannot stand sushi. Sushi, no. It's one of the only foods I won't eat.
Such
is it because it's raw fish? Does it leave you out?
It's a texture thing. I'm not very picky when it comes to taste. I drown everything in hot sauce, as a lot of people know.
I love hot
sauce. Oh my goodness.
Hot sauce. But
I do not like hot sauce.
I can't handle my spice.
Sushi's a texture thing. I just cannot stand the texture of any sushi I've ever had.
There's a local.
I like California rolls.
California rolls, I enjoyed.
How
there's a locally made hot sauce called Maritime Madness where I live, and I had one bottle that was ghost pepper and habanero with moonshine. And it was this
ghost pepper and habanero with moonshine?
Yeah.
That sounds horrific.
It was a war crime in a bottle, and
fantastic.
I put some on a sandwich once, and I put more than I intended to on a sandwich once, and I had never understood how someone could experience physical pain from food until then. But no, it actually unironically hurt me.
No taste, only pain.
Yeah. So I think I'm ready for hot ones. Basically, is what I'm saying. I think I can push.
I actually think you could do that. You know, this you had your interview, you had the hot sauce, and I think you're ready for the final stage.
T&I Royal Director on Hot Ones. I would watch that.
T&I Hot Ones.
Sean Evans is not prepared for me.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah.
Imagine.
T&I Hot Ones. That's a good idea for Community. Veiled, write that down.
Write that down. Anyway, let's keep this going. What's the best compliment you've ever received? Not to toot your own horn, but
Connor, you look great today.
Oh, thank you. I think it has to be that one. No, I don't know. Is it sad to say I don't receive a great many compliments?
I just gave you one.
I know, but like
everyone, you heard it here. If you listen to the podcast in the comments, give him compliments about anything.
Oh, you don't do that. I'll feel super weird. No, that's
just more the reason to do it.
It's not like I'm starved for praise or anything. It's just I'm not in a position all the time where I feel the need for validation or have someone around who is in a position to give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I think your roll colors look pretty when they're all together.
Thank you. I think if I were to give a genuine answer to this question, I forwarded a short story of mine to a friend who is a published author, and they told me that it was very, very good and with a little bit of editing could be published. And I think that would be...
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I think that would be the best compliment I've received.
Would you want... oh my god, my voice started losing. Okay. I was going to ask if you... Would you want to become an accomplished writer?
I'd love to.
Does that mean you'd have to quit TNI?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I already write all the time. I've probably written like 50,000 pages in the last, let's say, 7 years of avid writing. Most of it's probably trash, but some of it is probably pretty good. Not to toot my own horn.
Nah, don't say that. Anything that you create is amazing. You know.
That's a dirty lie.
That's what.
No, there's plenty that is not good that I don't keep, but there's plenty that I do, and eventually, I will compile it and I will edit it and I will give it to a publisher. But until I do that, I can't call myself a real author.
Understandable. What got you into writing?
School, I guess. I mean, I was always good in English class. Creative writing was always my best topic. I would seek it out whenever I could. I would ace it whenever I was given the opportunity. And eventually, I would start doing it in my free time.
That must be nice. I can't write. I hate writing. Well, myself, I can't write for shit.
What's your favorite genre?
Oh god, I have to bleep that out. I hate myself.
I love writing. It's easily my favorite subject, activity, hobby, whatever it may be.
I absolutely hate writing.
To answer your question, Agent, my favorite genre is fantasy.
I could have predicted that one.
Sci-fi's good. I like sci-fi. I can read nonfiction as well. Historical fiction is super interesting. I recently got more of an appreciation for historical fiction, reading George R. R. Martin's newest book, which is called Fire and Blood. It is not part of A Song of Ice and Fire, which most people will know as Game of Thrones. It is a text that is rooted in the background of that story. It tells the story of what happened 300 years prior with the dynasty leading up to the current series. That book is right next to me right now. It's probably my favorite book. I think I've read it cover to cover like 5 times.
So you're like Lord of the Rings, The Name of the Wind, kind of fantasy area.
I've never read The Name of the Wind, but yes, I love Lord of the Rings. I think Tolkien was probably one of the greatest literary geniuses of our time. And George R. R. Martin is fantastic. Robert Jordan, God bless his soul, was fantastic. Brandon Sanderson's turning out to be a really good author. There's a lot of really good fantasy that's being done right now. But yeah, generally that is the wheelhouse that I find myself in.
All right.
I do enjoy a bit of reading myself. I actually really love those genres. I really like Lord of the Rings. I binge watched it with my boyfriend one time, all the movies, and
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I really do want to get into reading the books, but I'm not much of a reader myself. I do really want to get back into it because I want to develop critical thinking and just be a better reader. But yeah,
you should start with The Hobbit. The Hobbit book is a lot lighter of a read, so it's a lot easier to get into. Because the Hobbit movies will fool you. You'll think, oh, it must be long as heck too, because there's 3 of those movies. But no, it's a short story. It's really not that long. They just added a bunch of stuff to pad the movies out.
Another good series to get into if you're looking to get in the fantasy genre of reading is it's called the Kingkiller Chronicles. It goes a day series. There's day 1, yada yada. That's a really good one if you wanted to get into not beginner level, but if you want to get into fantasy reading, that's a really good one.
Been told that I Am 4 like twice is a really good book series. I Am Number 4. And I only know of that because of the movie, which was horrendous, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
I've not heard of it. if we're going to talk about books, I'm going to go on a very short tangent here. There is a book series, and it is quite possibly the worst book series that exists. It is called Wizard's First Rule, or at least that's the name of the first book. I don't know if the Sword of Truth is the series. Wizard's First Rule is the first book. Written by Terry Goodkind. Genuinely, hilariously bad. There's a lot of content that is like inappropriate and like almost downright disturbing in its implication. So I wouldn't recommend it to like children. But if you're like a teenager, you're in the demographic it was intended for. Read it, but go into it the way you would go into a bad movie, where you're like, I hope this is going to be so bad it's good, because it will be. Villains include the chicken that is not a chicken. Which is a chicken that is actually the concept of evil.
Sounds like a D&D kind of thing.
Right? Other villains are the main character's secret evil brother, the main character's other secret evil brother, the main character's secret evil father, the main character's secret second wife that he doesn't know, and communism.
Just to top it all off.
Do you want me to title that book? I'm going to read that later.
I will do that. It is Wizard's First Rule. It's a 13-book series, I think.
Oh my god.
10, 13? I don't know. But it's something special. And by special, I mean horrendous.
It's an experience, it sounds.
Oh, for sure.
What? Okay. I wanted to there's a question that came up while we were talking about divisions, but I'm going to start it off first. If you really had to, hypothetically, had to switch positions with any of the directors of other divisions, who would it be?
Oh,
or what would it be?
I guess I'd switch with MP probably.
Really?
Yeah, I think I could make that division less bad.
Oh, wow. That's fighting words. Did you hear that, Funny?
No, listen. He does a fine job. It's just that the division has a lot of people who are not qualified.
Let's not stir some discourse. Anyway.
Stir the pot of divisional discourse.
I love MP. Like I said, I would choose it. It's the closest thing to what I do. And it is where I would be like most comfortable.
Challenge yourself.
Well, okay, fine. Give me Commandos.
Commandos. Go on. Don't be shy.
No, they would hate me.
Here's a little side question. What do you think about subdivisions? Just a general subdivision. What do you think about their concepts?
The concept of a subdivision, or how they exist?
The current ones. What do you think about them?
Be honest.
Guardians has been better recently. I've had issues with them in the past, but I haven't had them recently, so good for them. Cerberus have not impressed me because every single time I want them to do anything, they're like, "Oh, sorry, we're inactive," which is not a great look. I don't know anything about Nighthawk 9, so I'll pass on that one. I don't even know if it counts. And
doesn't really count, to be honest.
Black Daggers are fine, I assume. I don't know very much about them or what their job is or what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they're not fine.
It's not going so well. What is your opinion on subdivisions in general? Let the divisions director general hear it.
The concept of subdivisions?
Yes.
Or I think they could work. I think the idea of having a small subset of specialized individuals or elites act as a specific task force as part of a greater whole is not an inherently bad idea. I think that execution has to be very carefully handled, or else you get something like MP, where they're inactive. Cerberus. Or something like pre-current Guardians, where they think they're more important than they are and try and take up jobs.
Well, even current Guardians.
Well, I haven't had that issue with them recently, so I'm going to give them props.
Benefit of the doubt.
But yeah, as a concept, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think implementation is tricky, and thus far has been mishandled. There's a reason I haven't tried to do it myself. I've had ideas for subdivisions for my division. I've just never thought it was
very
worth
small
doing.
division?
Yeah. It wouldn't be easy to do, and it wouldn't be anything that I am in any rush to implement, but I could.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't wanted to do that much because I've got no real reason to.
Understandable. Well, there you have it, folks. Anyway, this question doesn't just pertain to just directors, but more like, any position TNI. If there was another position you could pursue that wasn't just where you're currently at. Like, yeah. You know what
I mean? I don't know. I mean, generally, I'm happy with where I'm at right now because most of the time, I'm in a position currently where if I see a problem, I can just be like, I'm going to spend this afternoon fixing this.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really matter where it is. Being Hey Dude's Colonel has given me ample opportunities to see all sorts of things and fix all sorts of things, and I have been very thankful to do that. Maybe one day I'll want to go for Admiral, but it seems like a whole lot of hassle that I, frankly, might be better off avoiding.
Yeah, that's kind of relatable. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone in this call understands that.
What advice would you give to someone wanting to pursue the same position as yours?
Someone who wanted to fill my shoes? Go for it.
If they wanted to be director, director divisions.
I mean, either way, my answer's the same. Go for it. Do your best. If you genuinely think you have something to bring to the table, the worst thing you can do is not try.
Mm-hmm.
If you apply yourself, if you try really hard, you could end up as a royal officer giving me advice, and I don't plan on it any day soon, but one day, eventually, I will resign, and when that happens, someone will have to take the spot. Or if you want to be a director of another division, I mean, same advice applies, really. All of these positions, all of these people are temporary, and that's
to say. But
not sad. I disagree. I don't think it's sad at all.
It is kind of. I mean, it's like it is a fleeting memory, but that's just life.
Yeah, I mean, it's fleeting, but it speaks to the institution that the people who leave their mark will be remembered, and the people who make great changes, who do great things, will have their legacy continue, and ideally, the people who follow them will make what they built even better.
Right, and that's something that everybody has to think about every now and again. Every admiral thinks about that at least once, because at the end of the day, something might happen. We might have to leave TNI one day, and I'm sure all of us, including the admirals listening, try to prepare our colonels in the best way to replace us.
There's any admirals listening.
Which, if admirals even listen to the podcast, if you are, hello. But a lot of admirals, we try our best to prepare our colonels to one day replace us, and it might not always turn out in the best way, or may turn out the way the admiral thought it would. But it's more of a sour taste if you say, everything is temporary. It's more of the fact that, yes, your position itself is temporary. You're not going to be in TNI forever. Nobody is. But whatever you do, whether that be good or bad, you will be remembered for it, regardless of what your position was.
For sure.
You'll be remembered for something.
Who
knows?
Yeah.
Bad or good. Anyway.
I'll be remembered for having the smallest colonel ever known in TNI.
don't think Colonel is going to be the word that's going to come out your mouth.
Huh? Okay, anyway, no. Anyway. We already kind of talked about your hobbies. I was going to go into that, but...
We've kind of already covered it.
And I think everyone knows all of our hobbies already because we talked so much in the other podcasts. Anything that you're not good at that you would want to improve?
That I'm not good at. Comparatively, my art, I guess. I'm at okay, but like my sister is far more talented than I am, and I would love to be better at it. Other than that, though,
sounds like you have a family of creators.
Yeah. Also, both my sisters are pretty good at art, but one of my younger sister, because I have two sisters, they are 15 and 16. The older of the two is a phenomenal artist, one of the best artists that I know. And I would love to be as good as she is, frankly. So I guess that.
I'm sure they wish they was as good as a writer as you.
You know.
Yeah, who want? No, I'm kidding. What? Besides arts, anything else? Like maybe like a trait about yourself, like more empathetic. Just throwing stuff out there.
That felt targeted. No,
it didn't feel targeted. I was just putting examples.
I would love to be better at reading people, I think. I can struggle with that sometimes. Sometimes I'm good at it, but sometimes certain people just completely elude me, and I can't pick up on how they're feeling. And
yeah, I completely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be times I'll just get an inkling of feeling, intuition, like there's something about this person, whether it's bad or good, and then sometimes it'll be right. I won't like completely out them, but I'll just wait until like my suspicions are correct. But then there's sometimes I'm just like I don't know how to feel about this certain person, like the way they're thinking. It's not that deep, but it happens from time to time. So I totally feel that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's in the most I have in terms of questions. It was lovely talking to you, by the way.
Absolutely, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions, Alstro, Agent?
I know typically at least at the end of my interview podcast, we asked Connor, do you have any questions for us?
Oh yeah, that's right.
What is the biggest change that you feel you accomplished during your tenure as Admiral? That is a universal question.
Is it addressed to me or Reg?
It's universal.
Universal? I guess I'll go first. My tenure as Admiral. The biggest change that I ever oversaw was the complete overhaul of our development system. But a lot of people don't know. Prior to me joining the board of directors, it was Durlock and Exemplar. Both of which, Durlock being the active IPC recruiter, he's already a very busy man. Exemplar being a VAC Royal Guard, the focus was not doing too well. So when I came in through Bobby, I oversaw pretty much the entire focus and worked directly with Shinedown to create our community team, our new facilities team, and actually get updates at facilities and divisions, because divisions were very neglected by development for the longest time. I mean, Royal Guard still has an outdated border. So that's probably the biggest journey I ever oversaw going through Admiral. Probably one of the most emotional moments was when I had to leave the Royal Guard. Like officially, like I'm technically not a Royal Guard anymore. that ceremony that we had about a month. It was about a month before I got Admiral. Was very emotional. So that's probably one of the most emotional times that I had in my journey of starting Admiral to now.
Yeah, and they keep doing it to me, taking my officers, turning them into admirals. Getting tired of it.
Pick very good officers.
I'll be back eventually.
Yeah, that will be nice.
I think as for me, it's still a work in progress, but just generally the reform of the division's focus. A lot of things are tied into that. I think the thing that affects me the most is the fact that my colonels actually do work. In the past, division's colonels did not really do anything. But now with a new system that's been created, like I've created it alongside Astro, my colonels are able to help any division. And I think it's actually provided me with necessary insights I need, like eyes and ears, in each division, because obviously there is a lot for me to oversee, and it is extremely hard for me to do that all alone. So the help is invaluable, both for me and I also think for divisional leadership, because they ever feel like they're drowning in work, I am happy to send one of my colonels to help out. And then beyond that, we've done a few things so far. The suspension system was changed, which does tie into the division's focus because we are reforming the way that all divisions operate and how they are organized. We had the first ever division HiCom wide meeting, which I think was relatively successful.
Ooh.
I was happy about that.
I was there.
Yeah, I love communication. I love seeing people talk and work on things together. So I thought it was awesome to see all of them there together. I think I'm working on an exchange program right now for divisions. I don't know, it's just like a lot of things that are happening since I got Admiral for all divisions, which I'm really happy about, and the division's focus specifically. And even this past week, I created some department-wide channels under my focus category in the TNI Discord.
Yeah, I see those. I actually really like that.
Communicate. And yeah, I think I've really been happy with it so far because, like, someone in the progression department in NRB can ask for help from senior members in the progression departments in all the other divisions and in TNI. So we can streamline the process of finding solutions to problems.
Did that rush hit you when you got Admiral? Like that work, like the workload just hit you in the face like it did me. Like I remember when I got Admiral, it was like immediately when I got the rank, all the work that I realized was undone just hit me in the face.
You became far too busy to talk with me.
I mean, I feel like all the divisions are quite flawed right now, to be entirely honest. And yeah, I'm really excited to continue to improve them. And in terms of it hitting me, yeah, it did hit me, but I'm actually really happy about it because I always have work to do, and I actually really enjoy the work I do in divisions. So yeah, I mean, I might have a lot of work, but I have great people working alongside me who I've been able to create friendships with, and I look forward to working more with divisions and forming new relationships with divisional HiCom.
It's a good way to look at it. Sounds great. With me, with my time as Admiral, I got the Admiral at like the almost towards like the basically around the time when the border first came out, and so community focus was still kind of like a baby, right? I got it after Skuzan and Scylla resigned, and I was like, wow, I have to, and then technically it was the first time I ever got in a high composition, because before in other clans I only got ever to officer, and it was very new to me. But then it also kind of felt like I've done this before, you know? And it was like a mixed feeling. Anyway, that's besides the point. I very proud because I set in stone how I don't know how to put this in words, how community is now, because I created all the along with Hey Dude, but I created all the teams that how community is currently set up, basically. And I'm very proud.
You laid the foundation for it?
Yeah, the foundation, that's what I mean. I set the foundation of how community focus is. Basically, I feel that. I don't know, maybe someone is like, no, you didn't do that. Who knows? But I feel like I did. Like, along with Hey Dude and we helped set the foundation for community. And I think I also brought a very good, like, overhaul of creativity within TNI. Not toot my own horn, but I think before that they weren't really utilizing their YouTube. I brought upon activity to the YouTube and to the Twitch. Not so much as Twitch right now, because it's kind of, like, weird setting that up and then, like, deciding between hosting on YouTube or Twitch. Anyway, I also brought the activity to the newsletter, and then I see that other divisions are also taking inspiration for the newsletter, and I'm very happy with that. It's like, that's great. Keep doing it. That's awesome. I love seeing you guys create your own stuff, inspired by me. So that's basically, I'm a very creative in person. I'm very right-brained, obviously. It wasn't any more obvious, but I like to encourage members. Even when I was Admiral, I encouraged my colonels and all of them think outside the box, like not just what we already know. Like think about, like bring in new things. Like I want to mention, not a lot of people celebrate. Like we celebrate holidays like Christmas, other things like that. Christmas, Halloween. Everyone generally celebrates it, and I wanted to bring in a new holiday that not everyone celebrates, but I think it is also very important because a large portion of people on the planet celebrate it, which is Lunar New Year. And that was a very new thing, I'm sure, to like, just in general. And so I think my colonels weren't very used to something like that. So I was like, I just encouraged them to be more creative, basically. Because a lot of people in TNI are more like statistical and they're more,
left brain.
Yeah, like that. And I just wanted something different than just what people already know. Like sticking to one format, basically.
Right.
And that's what I liked as Admiral. I liked the work I did quite a lot. I like to do the work I do now as well, like with the podcast and everything. I'm very proud of it. I feel like a trendsetter, basically. So.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Very proud of myself.
That's good.
All right. You got any other questions, Clone?
What about you, Clone? How do you feel as your time in TNI? What are you proud of seeing the change in?
My division. And it's the easy answer, but it's the most true one. I am incredibly proud of every single person who has invested their time in the greater whole that is the division, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because particularly the Royal Guard, it is a massive time investment. It requires activity, it requires effort, and I am so very touched that people would give me that time that they have, and that they would put it to something that I have spent so much time in. Because ultimately, time is a finite resource, and we all have to decide how much of it we're willing to invest in various things, and that people would trust me with the amount that is necessary for my division to function is just touching. I tell them all the time. I say it at most ceremonies because it's true. I'm incredibly proud of my people, and to the extent of where there's overlap, I'm very.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. Never mind.
You cut out for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
Darn.
Art.
I don't know where it cut out.
You said... Agent?
He talking about the time investment of
people, yeah.
people within the division.
I'll shorten what I was saying. everyone has a certain amount of time that they can invest, and I'm incredibly touched that they would invest that time in my division. I'm very, very, very honored that they gave me that time and that they put in the effort, and I'm very, very proud of each and every one of them.
I gotta say too, when I was in the Royal Guard, I mean, a lot of people know my roommate is my colonel, but a lot of people don't know how we met, and I'm sure Connor knows this one. He was my sentinel, which is basically an apprentice to a royal officer. And that's how we initially met. Was I picked him as basically my apprentice under my wing, and I feel like a lot of members of the Royal Guard are very close. And I don't know. In my time, there were way different people. Some of those people were gone. Some of them were retired, but we were all very close, regardless of our differences. We were all Royal Guard at the end of the day, and that's what I most appreciated about that division. It was more of a family than a division. We were all basically one thing. We put aside our differences and stood up as Royal Guards.
Yeah, it's a amazing thing about TNI and its community is that you find coincidences. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That you meet assortment of people that you wouldn't imagine have met meeting and then end up moving in together. Anyway,
Great.
Crazy, but yeah, I think we're kind of running up on the time, so we'll have to end it here. So, any last words, Clone, before we kill you?
Well, if they're gonna be my last words, I better make them good ones. I guess just in the spirit of what we were talking about earlier, I strongly encourage everyone to pursue your goals. Try and do the best that you can in everything that you do, because no one will remember a half-done job, but everyone will remember something that stands the test of time.
Yes, glory to the imperial property of condemning.
Yes.
Yep. Don't forget to DM Durlock IPC Recruiter and send a DM to Alstro PodCamp to show your allegiance. Anyway, that's it, everyone. That will be the end of the podcast. Everyone say bye. Bye-bye. See you next one.
Bye.